Hi, my beautiful brothers and sisters. This is Mary Hernandez with Genesis Kingdom, Part 2. As I finished off in the other one is to let the daughters know that you're the holy royal bloodline. You know, you're the one that are the 12 precious stones. It is the whole 144,000 of women that are going into the land of promised land. And there's people that are also following us that are on the boat. And as prayer, you keep going. You might not think so. You might think that you're still, no, you're not. No, you're not. Just trust and believe. Stay in prayer. Always pray. Always pray. Stay in faith. Hey, come on. You know, that's what's going to get us home and into the promised land with the God of the living. All obstacles being diminished. But in that time, the only delay was you. Because none of you were really turning away, not waking up to what the Bible really says. And this is to preach deliverance and preach liberty to you. And if you want to also go back, the 12 precious stones that I just did, but that's also in Revelation 21, 19, 20. And then she had you, and it has 21, 19 through 20. It tells you the foundation of the stones is you, not a foundation of a rock. It's the stones. You're the stones. The rock are the man, the beast system that wants you to believe that they're God. It's mud. They're nothing but apostles that are filled with demonic entities that are witchcraft, sorceries, astrologers, and it tells you that in Acts. Go and read Acts. You see that Paul that they were put him on there. All of them were put just to put the rock of foundation. That is Father and Son, Jesus. That is Matthew that got chosen. No, the 12 tribes is one head out of every tribe is a daughter. Wake up. And that is leading your whole tribe into the promised land. Stop preaching the beast system. If you're still preaching Jesus is Lord, Father, and Son, you're still preaching dogma, and you're still eating that spiritual, the cupcake. They call it cupcake dogma. And you're the world, the precious stones. And again, if you want to go back, also it tells you on there. And I'm also going to put it in the beautiful in the description. And again, it talks in 21, 19 to 20, and Exodus 28, 17, 20 are the list of the 12 foundations of stones. Precious stones, she calls you. All daughters, your babies, your children are going home, back into your inheritance, back into the land flowing with milk and honey. Your inheritance that was stolen from you, your mothers, your children's from Genesis all the way down to Revelation. We're going home. We're going, that's how do people say, go hard or go home. I said, we're going hard and we're going home. And our maker, Yahweh, is her name. And yes, she chose me to lead you into the promised land. A lot of people think, no, that's why they just stick a man's name in there so you can still think, oh, it was Joshua. No, the Joshua that's out there, I'm sorry to say, but it is true. Until you learn the foundation, I can't say anything more than that, you know, because I can't speak foul. But you're being deceived. That's a foundation of a rock they put there to make you think that it's man that is leading you out of there. That's a proper way to explain it. Joshua is a rock that they put on there for you to believe that it was a man that was leading you out. No, it's the maker that she chose, is Lord. And it's in there. The former dominion is being restored to daughter Zion. That is on Micah 4. Her former dominion has always been daughters. Always. Yeah. So then it brings me sorry, real quick, I just gotta remove this. Sorry about that. So now I'm doing part 2, you know, and the firstborn of the world is the 4 Garden of Edens, the 4 gardens of the gods. There were the 4 daughters that were the firstborn, and then they birthed. That was the holy Sanrio. But it only comes through the daughters. It doesn't come through men. So know your value. Know your value and how important you are to this world. You're the foundation of stones. Precious stones. You're the royal bloodline. Without with the kings that didn't want to do in a covet with you, passed out on the most opportunity of the lifetime. So she said, the holy sangreal comes to you, the sangreal comes to you. She said, if they didn't want it, I could pick somebody from the earth. And she did. You know what I'm saying? The plural right line and him are going to be a legacy that's going to be around forever. My husband that she picked for me, that's my holy. That's my king. That's the who she picked. We're going to leave a legacy for the rest of our lives. Our children's are going to be royal bloodline because the royal bloodline comes through you. She picked him for me, and we're living a legacy. He's going to leave a legacy of us for the rest of his life and his families for centuries and centuries, forever. You know? Now it brings me to, and so are you. Now it says, our God is our rock, part 2, the guardians of the spiritual Niagara, who is the spiritual rock in the Bible. Let that be on. Evangelists who wrote off a bit of biblical interpretation as entertaining, just simply silly, right? It's simply silly, it says. 1 Corinthians 10:4 complicates things. Paul refers to Jesus not just as the rock, but accompanied by the rock. So let's go. Let's go into 1 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 10:4. And it tells you in here. It says 1 Corinthians 10:4. And did all drink the same spiritual drink? For they drank of the spiritual rock. It says that they followed them, but the rock was Christ. But many of them God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Because we're overthrown because we made them the rock. We made them God. So we went into the wilderness because we were eating the dogma that God, the man. So we got cast into the wilderness. They threw us out from the holy hill, the gardens of Eden that are yours, your children's. We got cast down because of that. But with many of them, God was not pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. For these things were our examples to intent that we should not lust after evil things. As they also lusted, but neither be ye idolaters, that we are some of them, that it is written that people sat down to eat and drink, and they rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as for many committed, and they fell in one day. 3. It says how many of us fell. It says they committed and fell in one day. 320,000 went down because we ate the spiritual rock made man, and we were out mingling with the man. We were all making them God. We were saying, oh, Jesus is Lord. These are the kings. God, Joshua's the king. No, brothers and sisters, it was a king woman all along. But because we ate the spiritual rock, guess what? We got thrown into the wilderness. Now it says 1 Corinthians 10:9. Neither let us tempt Christ as one of them who also tempted, and they were destroyed of serpent. Neither murmur ye. Some of them also murmured, and they were destroyed of the destroyer. And all these things happened unto them as in samples, that they were written upon for our admonition. Upon the whole ends of the world are to come. Wherefore, let him that thinketh that he standeth and take heed, at least he fall. There had no temptation taken you, but such as common to men. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above ye that are able. But you will also, it says, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, but that you be able to bear it. Wherefore, my dear beloved, flee from idolatry, flee from that rock, from that man, that beast system, that it is Jesus, that it is Father and Son, that it is the 12 apostles, Matthew, I don't even know all their names. Peter, Sapphires, all of them lies. Those are the synagogues of Satan. They work for Jesus to preach the man foundation, the rock, so you could fall into that spiritual warfare and eat it. And it tells you that. Go back and read 1 Corinthians 1, and I'll go back to where it started. The cup of blessing, which is we bless, is not in the communion of the blood of Christ. Again, because what did he say? I am the blood. This is my blood covenant that keeps you in his covenant with Satan, in the rock, in believing that he is Lord, and Christ, all that is just lies. It's dogma. And it says it just like that. 1 Corinthians 10:15. I speak as to wise men, judge ye what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless, it is not the communion of the blood of Christ. The bread which we break is not the communion of the body of Christ. It's not. Because he said, he gave his life for the dead. That's in Revelation 1:5. So when he says, here's my communion, here's my body, that's the Antichrist. That's the beast system. That is a dogma of an evil, satanic, mutual community out there. For we are being many. It says, for we being many, that we are one bread, one body, and all the partakers of one bread. Behold, Israel, after the flesh are not they which eat the sacrifices of partakers of the altar. What say I then, that the idol is anything, or which is offered in the sacrifice to idols is anything? If I say that the things which are the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God, that I will not ye should have fellowship with the devils, that you cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of the devils, that you cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of the devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than she? Because they put he, but we all know it's a she. All things are lawful for me, and all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, and all the things that edify not. Let no man seek their own, but every man his own wealth. That's why they're doing for an uncorruptible God, for an uncorruptible, for a corruptible God that is saying, God, I'm Lord, I'm good, and it keeps you from who you are. Really? The Bible tells you that. When we said, this is my bread, this is my blood, which is given up for you. He did not do nothing for you. The Maker did it for you. The daughters and sons that were going out there preaching the truth were the ones that were being prosecuted. And you should know that, because we didn't have people following us. We didn't have people. We had people spitting at us, cussing it out. Jesus had a clan following him. And the sad thing is, he said it. He told you. You're not from my flock, but hey, you want to come one fold? Let's go. I was sent to you for judgment, but you want to take that? Go ahead. Let's go. Nothing but thieves and robbers come to me, but if you want to come my way, go ahead, because it keeps you from your inheritance. And the people it tells you the children from the world are actually smarter than the people from the light. And he was right, because you were eating that spiritual aroma, that he was God, that is Father and Son, and that is the man. The men are the kings that are put in there, and it was keeping you from your inheritance, from your heritage, from states and cities and vineyards that they're sitting on, and you're mad at me because I'm on my way to the promised land. You should be right along with me, and it tells you over and over again how to do it. Stop out there sinning. Stop following that it's man and his father and son. It's not because of your jealousy or whatever it is. Stop doing that. And it's not just to the children, to this world, because you're going to be part of that wrong world order if you keep eating the dogma. The spiritual rock, that it's rock. Now I praise thee, brethren, that you remember me. Oh, wait. Hold on. Sorry. It was just like, whoa. Okay. It started at 10:4. I mean, it's all in there. I wanted to see till... And it's so sad. Okay. So I went all the way down into letting you know how she said that you're eating the spiritual warfare, and it tells you out you're eating from the table of the demonic people. And it says, for the earth is the Lord's and his fullness thereof. And this starts again. Let me go ahead and go. 1Corinthians 10:25. Whatsoever is sold that the shambles to eat, asking no questions for Coscion's sake. For the earth is the Lord and his fullness thereof. If any of them that believe not bid you for the feast that you are disposed to go, whatsoever you set before you to eat, asking no questions for Coscion's sake. But if any man says unto you, this is the offer in sacrifice, and unto idols eat not, for his sake that he showed it, and for Coscion's sake, for the earth is the Lord and his fullness thereof. Coscion's I said, not in thine own, but the other it says, for why is my liberty judged for another man's Coscion's? For if I by grace be a partaker, I am an evil spoken of, that is which I give thanks. Rather therefore you eat or drink, but whatsoever you do, all in the glory of God, the true maker. Yahweh is her name. It's mother God. It's daughter. It's mother and daughter and daughters. All 12 precious stones. That tells you that in Revelation. Go back and look at it. I just did one on the stones. It is so beautiful. And you also have a name. And if you look at it, it's all venom. You're the stones. They just put the rock thing in there to put the man foundation so you buy into that dogma. And we all did. I wasn't following with no man. I wasn't bowing down. I was to myself at the table. But I was still preaching, Jesus is Lord. Until I read it, that she gave me the revelation. I say no more. I say Yahweh every time. Mother God. Yahweh, Mother God. You know? And now 1 Corinthians 10:31. Rather, therefore, you eat or drink, and whatsoever you do, do it for the glory of God. Give none offense, but neither to the Jews nor the Gentiles, neither to the church of God, even as I please all men in all things, seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. That's it. That's what I got chosen, to bring you, stop praying, pray over you, and continue preaching. So you stop bowing down to the man system, the beast system, that is a rock, that is father and son, that it's you, it's daughters, You're the holy royal line. The Israelites come through you, not through men. If he's not with you, there's no royal in it, because you're the holy sangreal. Your daughters, daughters. Nobody else. Okay, and that goes all the way to 33. 10. Oh, so it's 10. Really, if you want to read it, but it started at 5. 1, 2, 33. Amazing, huh? So, this is what does the rock mean, and then it says in Psalms frequently refers to God as the rock. The image emphasizes first all God's strength, a large rock, a solid strong, just like the Lord. This is the rock that could provide security in the fortress, a place of protection. That is Psalms 18:2, that you can hide upon the rock that is being pursued by enemies because they're following them, hated. But this is who you could hide under. But instead, you're hiding with the enemy. And he tells you that. That you're going with that other people that are saying that they're God and it's me. I prophesied. And he tells them, you're lying to my daughters. I did not pick no men. I picked daughters. They don't prophesy. They don't have visions. They can't heal. You can. But because her glory left you, her presence, because you were worshiping, bowing down to man, and she's saying, hello. She said, you don't even know me. You don't even know me. You're going after rocks. You're going after man. You're going after beast system. And it's you. You know, perfect example. I'm going to tell you the story about Boaz and Ruth. Okay. This man is filthy rich. Boaz. Everybody knows Boaz is filthy rich, right? He could have anybody he wanted. Anybody. Why do you think he chose Ruth? Why do you think he chose Ruth? Out of any woman, he could have had like the finest woman come in their eyes, right? Did he look for that? Did he look for that out there? No. He went and he picked somebody that he's seen gleaning out there. He's seen somebody that was actually valuing herself. Somebody that wasn't out there selling herself. Somebody that wasn't using her body. Somebody that wasn't doing anything but being herself out there gleaning and working. And he's saying, that woman, I want to wife up. That woman, I want to make mine. People could have showed up with the finest, could have showing everything. That didn't mean nothing to him. He said, I want that woman that's out there gleaning. I want that. Why do you think? Because she valued herself. She wasn't out there in the world. She was in the world, but she wasn't out there in the world. He said, that impresses me. That impresses me. And that's how I see it. I wasn't going to settle what was out there. Money didn't impress me. Drugs didn't impress me. You thinking you have 4 or 5 wives and you could come on to me like that, that doesn't impress me. But if you love my mother and you love God the way I love God, the true maker of heaven and earth, that's the only thing that I ask my mother. That's who I want. That's why I said, my Father, that's who I want. That impresses me. That impresses me. Not perfect, because I know I'm not going to be perfect. But I know I'm not going to be a sinful woman. I know I was raised with respect and morals. That's powerful, brothers and sisters. That's powerful. Be a Ruth. Be a Proverbs 31 woman. Stop trying to be a Kardashian out there, no disrespect. But you know what I mean by that. The whole world knows. So I'm not preaching anything that is not out there. Stop trying. And I heard, I think it was Christy, I don't know her last name. But at the beginning of my journey, when I got on there, she goes, you know what? Everybody wants to be like a Kardashian. Everybody does. She said, but I want to be a Proverb 31 woman. I want to be that woman. That's the kind of impression that you want to make to the world, that you want to make for your kingdom husband, your royal bloodline. And you're going to be all raunchy, passing yourself around to every man and settling for less. He said, that woman impressed me. I want to get to know. Who's that? Who's that? Boaz said. I want to get to know her because she valued herself. She valued herself. She didn't have to throw herself at no man. She didn't have to sit there and dress so provocative to be noticed, because that's what the world is used to. The lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh. He could have had anybody, right? Why did he choose Ruth? Because he said, that impressed me. A woman that's out there gleaning, a woman that's going out there every day gleaning. That impresses me. I want to know her. And he redeemed her. That's my Redeemer is coming. My Maker is said, I got something so much better for you than what you had out there, than what you lost. They didn't see your value because they weren't supposed to. Because if they were, they would have seen it. But instead, the men made themselves all like, I could have anybody I want. I could have had anybody I want. We're jumping from girls. That didn't impress me. If anything, that sickened me. And I said, and you think I'm going to settle for being wife number 4 or 5? And when they showed the previews of the movie of David, One Night with the King, have you guys seen the preview? And when they were actually introducing that movie, they said also, David could have he had, 4 or 5 wives, 21s if not, and then he had concubines, right? But what happened? He said out of all the ones, he showed favor to Esther. Why did he show favor to Esther? Because Esther was humble. Esther was a good person. Again, he said, that impressed me. I could have young girls. I could have concubines. I have 5 wives. You settled for 5. You settled for being number 1. Shouldn't even have settled for number 2. You devalue yourself just to be with the king. You settled. Why would you settle? When you are the real, when you are the holy royal bloodline comes out of you, why would you settle for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? And then get pissed because number 6 comes. And there's already 330 some concubines, whatever number it was. Sorry, David, but it's true. Why? And David said, that impressed me. I want to talk to Esther. Again, did she sat there and show off anything? No. And the sad thing is, some people try to mock, and then they showed, and this is just an example, like they showed the wife of Chapo, all sexy, all in bikini. And then they showed the wife of what he used to have that was just normal. And then again, they thought that was something to be proud of. How many people haven't been through that? You know, that is the kind that well, that's exactly what it means, that you're in the world, but not of the world. Where we were sinners, yes, we were. The whole world was. There wasn't a person that was good, not even one. But know your value and dig that hole, that pit that you dug, that you devalue yourself, bowing down to a man that did not even see your worth. And you're settling, and you think you're winning? No, he is, because he degraded you. He degraded you for to be 2, 3, 4, and 5. He degraded you for you not to even matter and say, I still want that one over there. You didn't even matter, not even one matter, not 2, 3, 4, and not even concubines. Why do you think they do that? Why do you think Boaz did that? Because he said, that impressed me. That woman out there gleaning, that woman out there working the proper way, the respectful way, the honorable way. He said, that impresses me. Who that? He said, who that? I want to know who that is. So do you think I really care when people sit there and say, oh, that's all she does? Oh, think she's too bougie? Oh, she thinks she's too good? Oh, she's too fat? Oh, she's too skinny? I don't care. I have respect and morals, something that they will never see. And they'll keep pointing fingers because they're not me. They wish they were me, because if they were me, they would be sitting there saying, hey, I want to be like that. I want to be a Ruth. I want to be a Proverb 31 woman. That's exactly what Christy said. She said, everybody wants to be a Kardashian. She said, I want to be a Proverb 31 woman. Do you see? She's seen her value like, hey, I don't want to be like the rest of the world. I want to be that Proverb 31 woman. And then you will attract what you are. If not, you're going to get somebody that likes 5, 4, 5, 6 wives. That's what you're going to attract, because you're going to allow it. But when you set your terms, you set your values and say, hey, I'm not going to settle for that. I want just one husband, and I don't want to share my husband. Then you sit there and you set those boundaries, and you don't settle. You don't sit there and be like, well, I guess, he's a king. I'm going to settle for that. No, if you can't give me that, I don't want it. And being alone is better than with bad company. And yet I was hated. And I wasn't after nobody's husband. I was out there to preach the word of the God, so it could preach deliverance to you and liberty to you. And yet, when a king will show up, all women will show up. Why? I wasn't fighting for no man. I was fighting for you, for your soul. I was fighting for this world to take you out of the hands of a demonic world that we were all in, a blood covenant with Satan, and bring you back into a water covenant. That's the difference. And I want my husband to say, that impresses me. That woman that did not settle for 520 husbands, that impresses me. I want to make that impression on my husband, and I want him to be that impression on me. Different. And different is good. So then it brings me to Matthew 16 and 18. And then I'll close it up to Bible 3. Matthew 16, 18. And let this sink in. And now I get it, what it means. In Matthew 16, 18, and I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Because he put the foundation of a rock in there to make you think that it is a man and it is a precious stones. It is God that chose that Lord, because we're called lords when she chooses you to bring you out into the promised land. They've been trying from the very beginning. Read Chronicles 1, 2, Kings 1 and 2. Nobody has made it into the promised land until now, because you're still believing in a man's foundation. They bow down, and you started bowing down to a man's system. That's what keeps you from your inheritance, because he put that rock there in the midst of every tribe, for you to believe that he is God, that is the Lord that God had chosen. And she said, you're simply not man. I did not choose you. I chose my daughters. It's my daughters. It's always been my daughters, my precious.